everybody, how's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here in FlossTube, and I am coming to you on this Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024, with a November update, a November recap, and also my plans for December. Before I get into everything, welcome everybody. Welcome to both my returning viewers as well as anybody who is new here. Perhaps you're checking out my channel for the first time. Thank you all so much for spending part of your day with me. And I emphasize that so much because holy cannoli, FlossTube is humongous. It is so big right now with everybody doing their Vlogmas, their Flossmas, their Holly Vlogs, Flossvidad. I have seen so many different iterations of daily videos. I was talking to my husband about it yesterday. I said, I counted up the number of videos that had been posted in the previous 6 hours. Just cross-stitch related, just FlossTube, and it was like north of 20 in 6 hours, and that's just who I'm subscribed to. It's phenomenal. And so y'all taking part of the day, and I'm sure it's going to be a rather large part or multiple days, because just looking at the stack that is shoulder height here from the table, thank y'all for spending part of your time with me. I appreciate it. Appreciate you spending time with little old me. So like I said, I think it's been like a month since my last update video. I know that I did film in the beginning of November because y'all got to see Personal Sunshine finished. Very exciting. But I don't think I've filmed since then. That's not exactly true. I filmed about a week ago. I did this video about a week ago, and then time got away from me and I never got to editing, and then 3 days passed and I sat down to edit, and so many things had changed that I just had to scrap it. I just decided to scrap it and try again today. So here we are. We are here to update the stitching that I have done over the last 5 weeks or so. And it's a lot. So we're going to dive right in. We're just going to jump right in. No preemptory things. Let's just jump in. I have things in sort of categories. And so we're going to start with the whips that we have seen before, that weren't stitched on for various and sundry things. So we'll start with that. And up first is the project that saw the most love in November, and that lives in this project bag. This is a mini bag. It is perfect for my sweater weather. Sweater Weather is by Carolyn Manning Designs, and this is my full coverage focus on a finish for next year. However, this year I'm working on it as much as I can so that my monthly goal next year is as small as it can be. Plus, this is my project for the Great British Cross Stitch Baking Show, and so this gets at least 2,000 stitches for that for each week. I am behind. I am working on... I am nearly finished with week 8. Week 9 is going to be quick, and the finale I have yet to figure out how I'm going to stitch for that. I haven't exactly worked through that in my head yet. But anyway, so this is, like I said, this is Sweater Weather, and the fabric I'm using for this is a 32 count Belfast linen in cream from Zweigart. I'm using the called for DMC, stitching 2/2 full cross. And this is where I am down to. I am almost to the 50% mark. You'll see in my before and afters, you'll see the official percentage that I'm at because I don't have that information handy. But I am nearly at the 50% mark. I think the middle line is like right there. So yeah, I did a lot on this in the month of November. I think it worked out to 9,500 stitches into this project alone in November. No, it is November. No, it's not. It's December. Forgive me. Yes, November. 9,500 stitches into this in November. Woo! Somebody needs more coffee. So on November 30th, I actually got a couple of page finishes. I finished pages 2 and 3, and that was very cool. It was cool to reach that milestone. and also to have a full coverage page finish in November. because I hadn't before this. So that was very cool. And I love it. This is, as I've said so many times before, this is Zen stitching. It is very easy to get lost in the stitches. You're either doing one of the triangles, which is 10 stitches, or one of the diamonds, which is 41 stitches, or one of these that's several of those put together. It is just, it's just so much fun, such easy stitching, and I love the colors. I can't help it. I love the colors. So that is Sweater Weather. This will still get another, I think it's like 5,000 stitches here in December. I'm going to try to get that done as soon as I can. Although when I explain to you my plans, you are going to laugh at me for saying that. But anyway, I would like to get that done as fast as I can so that I can give myself a break from this piece before I get it finished next year. So that is where we are up to with Sweater Weather. As I have mentioned previously, I am playing Monopoly with friends, and I think my most recent turn, I needed to work on this project. I was also working on this project to finish out the Big Brother cross stitch game and for something else, but I can't remember what. So that lives in this adorable project bag. This is by Pepper Pot Shop, and I only needed, I think, a sum total of 400 stitches. I ended up doing 500 because this got the saddest start, and it felt like even at 400 stitches it still felt like a really sad start, and getting up to 500 it still feels like I haven't really begun this, even though I think I'm at 5% complete. This is not a very big design. So this is Beach Rat. Beach Rat is by the Artsy Housewife. We started this at StitchCon this year, at StitchCon 2024. Weekend A, we started the Beach Rat sale. And so here's where I'm up to. I'm stitching this on a 40 count Newcastle linen in Balmoral by Color and Cotton. And so that is the progress that I made. When I first got working on this most recently, I had some of the line of the bee and some of the curve of the bee, and that was about it. So it still doesn't look like anything yet, but it's gonna be, and there's a leaf. So at least there's that discernible something. Otherwise, it still feels like a very sad start. I am stitching this using mostly the called for threads, although my letters, the letters are supposed to be done in either a fancy floss that converts to 3371 or 3371 itself. Either that's what's charted or the fancy equivalent. I swapped it out for something that I also picked up at StitchCon, and that is Forbidden Fiber Co. Salem. It's a dark dusty purple. It doesn't exactly translate on the fabric. It doesn't look quite dusty purple, but I know that it's there, so there's that. So that's where I got to with Beach Rat, a little bit further into my baby start. I cannot wait to get to the seagull itself. I'm really looking forward to stitching that. Up next is something that I made a lot of progress on in the month of November. And that lives in this project bag. This is a stitch and button bag. I adore this bag. So in here lives my Ragnarok. Ragnarok is by Long Dog Samplers. And this is one of my pieces that at the beginning of the year I called one of my small monthly goals. I wanted to make regular progress on it this year, even if there was no way I was going to finish it this year, but I wanted to make regular progress. So I set the small monthly goal at 500 stitches. So I worked on this in November for my small monthly goal, but I did a lot more than that. So let's, oh, it looks so good. I love showing this project. So I was working over here on page 4. When I started this year, I was barely into page 1 here. And I am so looking forward to doing an end of year recap so that y'all can see the before and afters for these small monthly goals. This one's going to be so much fun. But anyway, so I was barely in here, and 500 stitches would be about 6,000 stitches this year, give or take. But I could never stick to just 500 stitches. I don't think I had a single month at less than 700 stitches on this, and I had a couple of months where I did well over 3,000. And this month in November, I did almost 3,000 for various and sundry things. It became pretty apparent early on in the year that the goal became to finish this top row of pages, and I have now done that. So I got page 4 finished. I think at the beginning of the month I was like somewhere in here-ish. I still had a couple of the spikes left. I did this woodpecker, this adorable little frog. I finished up this squirrel. There's the bird here. Here's the eagle, which is Odin, Odin in his eagle form. I did more mane of the horse, and then this over here looks very phallic, and it's just gonna, but it is the horse's tail. The horse is an 8-legged horse, and that is the horse's tail there. But it's just gonna look like that until I get across the second row of pages. So after I finished page 4, I still needed more stitches for the various challenges that I play along with. So I came over here and started on page 5 and filled in some more of the oak leaf. There is a negative space owl going in there. I did this acorn with the backstitch included. So yeah. So that is where I got to with Ragnarok. I'm using Anchor Black 1/2 on this 40 count linen. So that is my Ragnarok. I love this piece so very much. I hope to be able to get to it here in December, but we'll wait and see on that. Now we're going to get into New Startapalooza. New Start-itis has hit me hard. I have been in the mood for a bunch of new starts, and so I have had a bunch of new starts. And so the first one is something that has not seen Instagram yet, and that lives in this project bag here. This is a project bag by Black Cat X Stitchery. All of the bag makers that I can are linked in the description box of my videos. So when last I filmed, actually I think that was mid-November, so maybe it was less than a month. Anyway, so when I last filmed, the very next day I was getting ready to go to a Stitchy meetup here in the area, and can I just tell you that I'm still, like, I still look back and, like, it was 3 weeks ago, and I'm still, like, very giddy. Like, just going to that space and leaving that space just totally filled up my cup. So Erin, Hiking in Stitches here on FlossTube, and Krista, Shenandoah Valley Stitcher, and Becca and Lucy, who are not on FlossTube. But thank y'all so much for that. It wasn't just for me, but I just so appreciated that day, and I cannot wait for January for our next meetup. Speaking of which, if you are in the Central Virginia area, or you're going to be on January 19th, get in touch with me and come to the Stitchy meetup. It is so good. It is so good. It is so good. I say all of that because I started this project while we were there. This is super portable. It's super easy stitching while with a group. And that is the October Quaker by From the Heart Needleart by Wendy. I have abandoned the dream of finishing this series this year. It's okay. It's going to be all right. But I'm going to get some progress into this one. So I got this started while at the meetup. I really quickly threw together the 2 threads that I had, and so I was limited on what I could do, what I could count to. But I did indeed get it started, and it reached a point where we had to leave, and so I just stuffed this back in the bag. So needle is still attached and everything. So this is where I got to. And so you'll see that I'm outlining that big motif there in the top left. This is a fabric from a repurposed project that I have previously UFO'd. This is a 28 count antique white cashel linen from Zweigarts, just a plain antique white linen. And I'm stitching these 1/1 full cross on the 28 count. So they're tiny. They are very little. 1/1 on the 28 count. And I have finished the first 9. I have 3 left to do, and October is now started. I am stitching these using DMCs. They are charted in Classic Colorworks, but because I'm stitching them tiny and because I don't have a Classic Colorworks stashed really to speak of, I'm doing the DMC equivalents that Wendy provides there. So yeah, just a little bit of a start there, a couple hundred stitches while stitching with friends. Oh, I thought that was, oh, that scared me. I have a tail here, but it looked like the thread was bleeding, like my project had gotten wet. But it's all fine. It's just a tail. Anyway, so that is my start on October Quaker. And we will see this one again before too long. But stay tuned. We'll talk about plans here in a minute. Okay, about a week and a half ago is when I leaned right on in to Startapalooza, to the new Startitis, and I just started a bunch of things. So first up, living in this project bag. This is another project bag by Stitch and Button, and I love this bag for this project. In here lives my Dino Garden. Dino Garden is by Buena Pieza. They have a website as well as an Etsy shop, and I knew that I wanted to stitch this when I first saw that it was released. And then I was contacted by Elizabeth, who told me that she and her sister were going to start it. I believe her sister started it in diamond painting. And so Elizabeth said, let's have a start along. And in all of the years of our friendship, we have not had a start along. We have stitched the same piece a couple of times, but never at the same time. So this was really great. It was really great to get this started with her. I did only work on it for about a day and a half before the new Startitis took me elsewhere. But I'm just so geeked to have started it with her. So let's talk about my fabric for this piece real quick before I show it. When I spoke to y'all last time about this, I was I thought I had decided that I was going to stitch this on a light blue, but then I was thinking that I needed something dark, something either black or navy, but I really wanted a 40 count, and I didn't think I had that. So I pulled out my 40 count drawer. I have this bench with drawers in them, and I pull out my 40 count one and I dump it. I mean, I literally just dumped it on the floor, and my daughter thought we were having a dump out the buckets day. So she followed suit and dumped out one of her toy buckets. It was chaos, but it was fun. Anyway, so I saw this, and so this is something that I must have picked up in a D-stash, because the bag that it was in is from the attic, and having never been to the attic, I must have picked this up in a D-stash. It says that this is Smoldering Skies by Enchanting Lair, and so you don't hear Enchanting Lair all too often. So I went to go look them up to see if they were still dying, and where they were located and whatnot. And Smoldering Skies looks nothing like this. So I don't know what this is. It could be Smoldering Skies. It could be a misdye. It could be a misprint. I don't know. It is this gorgeous, deep, purpley gray color. It is so beautiful. And it's called a 40 count linen, although I think that's kind of a generous 40 count designation. I think these stitches are tiny enough to be called 46 count. I haven't measured it, but these stitches are adorable. They are so cute and little. And the colors on this project are phenomenal. So yeah, so here's what I'm up to. Super cute. Some pteranodons and or pterodactyls there at the top. This is the full width of the design. I have made it the full width. It is so cute. Oh my gosh, it's so adorable. It's a long piece, but it is narrow. And I had kind of, when I was in this new startitis treatment plan of starting all the things, I had kind of decided that I was gonna, when I could, reach for 5% before switching projects. And in this one in particular, I wanted to make it the width. And so I made it to the width and the 5% mark. I love this so much. I am so thrilled to have started it. My daughter is going to love it. She already loves the pink and purple clouds. She thinks that all the clouds should be pink and purple now. So yeah, love Dino Garden. Just so cute. This is going to be the first of several Buena Piezas that I do. Yeah, very cool. The very next day, after starting Dino Garden, I had another new start. And so that lives in this project bag. This is one of my newer stitch and button bags. So pretty. And in here lives a project that I have been wanting to start for a while. When I first started talking about this new start thing that I was in the mood for, I think I showed this as a potential. And then Sunday the 24th was Vicky Stitch and Button's birthday. And so she's a fellow coffee addict. I am a coffee addict. Let's start Coffee Addiction by Stitching Jules. For me, but on Vic's birthday. It just worked out nicely. When I did the epic fabric dump, this piece of fabric jumped out at me as something that I really wanted to use. This design is deceptive. It is bigger than I think I really realized at first. It's like 312 by 383, something like that, if not that exactly. 312 by 383, that's a big piece. And on a 40 count, you need for that like a little bit of a generous fat quarter. It will fit on a fat quarter, but you need it to be a little bit generous, in particularly in the width. The Picture This Plus isn't going to cut it because their fat quarters are often kind of a narrow cut. And this piece is an XU Designs. And XU Designs always, I feel like give like the stitchers benefit, if you will, for their dimensions, for how they cut their fabric. And so this is kind of a wide fat quarter. It's just a little bit bigger than your standard fat quarter, which is fabulous for this. And I am so obsessed with this combination. I want to get back to working on this. So preview here of what this will look like finished. And here is where I am up to. Oh my gosh, it looks so cool. And that green is showing up fairly accurately. It is like a rich kind of guacamole color. It is called oil green. This is a fabric that I picked up from Fire Poppies when they were closing and getting rid of everything. I picked this one up, and so it is this rich, deep green, oily. It's perfect. It is so cool. So this is where I got to. This is my 5%. As I said, this is a big piece, so 5% covered quite a bit of ground. So we have here, this is that sort of indentation in your skull right here. We have a little bit of brow bone coming together, and eye sockets are going to start coming in. This is temporal part of your skull. Back of the head here. Oh, this is so cool. It's so funny because I'm working on this, and I'm working on the various little squiggles and the random dots everywhere, and it doesn't make any sense until you step back. And then it's like, oh my goodness, that is so cool. That is so cool. I love this piece. I'm so excited about it. This is going to be my first of very many Stitching Jules Designs pieces. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm really looking forward to getting more into this. So much so that I'm considering it for a small monthly goal for next year. To be determined. It is time to talk temperature stitching. I talked about it at length in my last video. A very quick overview here. This is something that was started by Siska Stitches. It was adapted into similar but different by Jen the Caffeinated Crafter, and I have also further adapted it to suit me. So what is this? You're stitching for the temperatures in your area. You take the numbers 0 through 9 and assign projects to those numbers. To simplify things, I am assigning a project based on a pair of numbers. So 0 and 1 are the same project, 2 and 3 are the same project, so on and so forth. Then you pull temperatures. So you pull the forecast, you pull the actual recorded temperatures from the past, you sit down to stitch and you look at the temperature, what it is right now, and you stitch based on that. So you take that temperature, you take the last digit, and that digit corresponds to the project. So for instance, for me yesterday, I think it was 44 degrees. So I would take that 4 and I would work on my 4 project. Then you stitch on that project for whatever goal you set. For me, it's 100 stitches. So I would do 100 stitches on my 4 project to represent yesterday. So I told myself I wasn't going to do this. I wasn't going to do the temperature stitching. It wasn't for me. It's too much variety. It's too many different projects. But I love it. I love it. I love watching Jen do it. My favorite part, honestly, is that Jen works on these things very incrementally, right? Just 100 stitches, just a couple hundred stitches here and there. And then once she has done 1,000 stitches on her temperature pieces, then she swaps it out for something else. But before she does that swap, she does the before and after comparison of the 1,000 stitches. And she did it incrementally. She did it in little bits and pieces. But it added up to 1,000 stitches. And that is progress. And I am a self-proclaimed progress stitcher. And I don't like too much variety, but I certainly would like more variety than nothing. That's how you get to 96 projects with variety. So last week was my first week of doing temperature stitching, and what I decided to do was on Monday I sat down and looked at the past recorded high temperatures for the previous Monday through Sunday, so the last 7-day spread. And so in this particular instance, it was up through the 24th, and I think I don't have my breakdown anymore, but that's okay. So it was up through the 24th, and so I took my past recorded temperatures for my area, and then on the very next Tuesday, I worked on these pieces for their 100 stitches. And so I did 700 stitches on that Tuesday and worked on my projects for 100 stitches each. Very, very exciting. Okay, so I'm going to show you the progress, and then I'll show you how this broke down. The first one that I worked on was for 4 and 5. 4 and 5 came up 5 times in that first week that I did temperature stitching. So this one got 500 stitches, which was phenomenal. Super, super cool. So that lives in this project bag. This is a Momily bag. And in here lives Autumn Cloche. Autumn Cloche is by Hello from Liz Mathews. And as I said, 500 stitches went into this. I started this project for fall equinox last year, 2023. And I really hadn't worked on it since, so I was really geeked to not only get to work on it, but to put in 500 stitches on this piece that very much needs it, because this is big. It's really not a very small design. When you see my 500 stitches, I mean, it's progress, it's significant progress, but it feels like just a drop in the lake that is this project. So this is on a 40 count Newcastle linen in Rain Washed by Color and Cotton. I am stitching this using the DMCs. I believe she calls for NPIs. Yeah, she calls for NPIs, but I went with the DMCs. And so here is where I am now. The 500 stitches is super easy to pick out of this one. It's this flower is new, this leaf is new, and the head of the bird is new. This red-capped chickadee is what it looks like. So yeah, all of that is new. I had the 5 butterflies in the top of the Cloche dome done last time, and oh my goodness, I love this project. I was so thrilled that this one got 500 stitches for that first day, that first temperature day. So let me show you on the chart. It's that one flower and that one leaf and that one bird head, and that's what 500 stitches got me, and I've got all of this left to do. But anyway, just thrilled. Loved it, and I really enjoyed getting to some of the other colors. So that is where I got to on temperature stitching with Autumn Cloche. Very, very cool. That one never got to see Instagram because the next one I worked on was a new start. Unfortunately, my 8 and 9 only came up once for that first week, and so it got a very sad new start. When I talked about this last time, I mentioned that I had randomly drawn new start. I'm doing these things seasonally, and we are technically still in the autumn season. And so I pulled together some new start potentials, some things in my stash, or some things on my want to stitch list, maybe things I don't necessarily have, both digital, physical, all of it. And I put all of those autumn themed potential new starts on a wheel and spun that wheel before I did my temperature stitching for this. And so it spun this project. This I'm calling Autumn Town. It doesn't really have a very descriptive title. Autumn Town is in the description of the listing on Etsy. This is by NARAxStitchPatterns on Etsy. Autumn Town, preview here. I am so excited about this piece. So this currently lives in this project bag, although it is upgrading to a new bag by the end of the week. But it's currently living in this project bag. This is a bag by Evertotes. It's just autumny, an empty autumny bag. And so I wanted to stitch this on 40 count, but it has blends, and all of the ways of dealing with blends on with one strand I don't love, so I switched it up for the 32 count. This is an awful lot of talk for that. That's my new start. There it is. Super, super exciting stuff here. 120 stitches of DMC 712. That's what you get. It's a little bit of a cloud. The next time that I work on this, I will start to get into some of the fun stuff like a hot air balloon right there in this top left corner. I'm so excited about this. I just can't even tell you. So the fabric I'm using is 32 count Belfast linen in Blue Whisper from Zweigart. See that there? I picked this up while at Stitch New Jersey. And so yeah, super, super fun. I'm so excited to work on this again and to actually see something. So there is that. So there is new start number 4. And that's it for the new starts. For now. For now. When I last talked to y'all about temperature stitching, I explained that I had included 5 random autumn things. So the new start and then fall themed things. And one of those was Lunar Witch by Autumn Lane Stitchery. I qualify that as a Halloween piece. Is it really? No, but I qualify it as a Halloween piece. And so I kind of reworked this a little bit for a couple of reasons. First of all, I have no problem working on Halloween 365 all year round. However, I was kind of starting to think about, we're getting ready to make the switch to winter, and I will switch my pieces to winter pieces at that point. And winter solstice is December 21st or 22nd, somewhere in there. 20th through the 22nd, somewhere in there. And so potentially my Christmas pieces will be, according to my original plan here, my Christmas pieces will be melded in with my winter pieces. I do not enjoy stitching on Christmas in the days after Christmas. I need about 6 weeks after Christmas before I'm even willing to stitch on Christmas. I don't know why that is, but that is like, it's like a hard stop, like a do not pass. For whatever reason, I totally check out of Christmas stitching on December 26th. And so I thought, okay, well, it is December and I am kind of in the mood for Christmas stitching. So instead of saving the Christmas stuff for winter section, I decided to make one of my temperature stitching pieces be related to a holiday or an event that is relevant to that month. And so December is a good time for me to work on a Christmas thing. I'm in the mood for it in these weeks leading up to Christmas. And so I will just do that every month. I will adjust that one listing according to something that's going on in that month. So January is, I don't have any New Year's, like New Year's themed pieces, but my daughter's birthday is in January. So perhaps I will do something that is either for her or about her or what have you. February, Valentine's Day or something with hearts, et cetera, et cetera. And so my 2-3 used to be Lunar Witch, and instead it is one of my randomized Christmas pieces, for which I can't believe it, but I only have 3 at this point. So I randomly selected one of those 3, and that lives in this project bag. Again, this is a big preamble for a project that got 100 stitches in it. But anyway, so this is a project bag made by Diane Mondot Stitches. Super, super pretty. And in here lives Merry and Bright. So Merry and Bright is by Cottage Garden Samplings from their Songbirds Garden series from 2018, I think. Yes, 2018. So excited to work on some Cottage Garden samplings. I love Cottage Garden. I stitch Cottage Garden all the time. So yeah, really excited to get to spend some time on a Songbirds Garden that I haven't been able to this year. And so, like I said, this got 100 stitches, 111 to be exact. So it wasn't much, but that's okay. It's going to get some more love. The cool thing about this piece being the one that was chosen is that if I end up having to work on it after Christmas to finish out the month of December, this is Christmassy, but it's not in your face Christmassy, and I think I'll be able to work on this after Christmas Day. We'll see. I mean, who knows? I might change my tune, but anyway, this is where I am up to. This is on 32 count Belfast linen in Carol's Meadow by Silk Weaver, hand dyed by Jim. I bought this from Needleworker's Delight back when they had the shop. So it's technically under the heading of Silk Weaver, but it could be under handed by Jim. But the colorway is Carol's Meadow, just greens with a little bit of pink showing through. I am stitching these designs using DMC. They call for, I think, Wake Dye Works. I made the conversion to DMC for all of these. There's a couple of other changes that I'm making. The lettering here, the first capital letter has this yellow fill-in, and I am ignoring that on all of them. They are all like that. And then in this one in particular, the berries, the conversion to DMC, the 2 shades according to Vinny, they are two alike. And so when I stitched the first berry forever and a day ago, the inside blended in way too much with the outside. The outside is 902 and the inside as charted is 221. So I made the switch to 816 for the inside just to be a little bit more bright, sort of bright red, Christmas red, berry colored. So that there's a little bit more contrast there instead of blending in so much. Other than that, it's called 4 DMCs. Other than all of those things, it's the same. So this time for my 100 stitches, I needed to replenish my grain stash, and so I just worked on berries, and so I stitched 3 berries. Each of the berries is 37 stitches. 100 stitches, easy peasy. But this project was not supposed to see any love this year, so it's 100 stitches that it really kind of wasn't supposed to get. And it's gorgeous. I love this piece so much. Oh, I'm so excited to be able to spend some time on this here in December and here for temperature stitching. Very, very exciting. All right, so that's everything I worked on in November. Before I get into everything that I have done so far here in December, let's take a break for a second and talk about some November statistics. Just real quickly, recap November for me. I began the month with 91 works in progress, and with 0 finishes and 5 new starts, I ended the month with 96 works in progress. But I had new startitis. I kind of still do. I'm still recovering, if you will. But I'm staying under 100. So at least there's that. So that's pretty cool. All told, I did 20,400 stitches in November, which is pretty great. I stitched every day. I had no 0 stitch days, so that's cool. I worked on 11 unique projects, which is pretty average for me this year, and exactly 1 full coverage project, and that was sweater weather. So very interesting to see the breakdown in that way. Okay, so December. This is going to be kind of a mix of plans and what I have stitched. Finish that stitch, December. It is a phrase, an event, if you will, coined by Sammy J Stitches. And the goal is to finish some stuff. The new year is upon us, and you've got a month to finish up as many things as you can. I have nothing that is really close. I have nothing that is a day or 2 close. I have things that are a couple thousand stitches away. But they are things I think I could finish before the end of the year, and I kind of want to do that. Having had 5 new starts in November, potentially having more starts here in December because I kind of don't want to stop starting, I would really like to get some finishes. I want to stay under 100. That's kind of the ultimate goal here. And so I identified 5 things I think I could finish. I think I could finish with some concentrated effort. However, with the exception of 2, we'll call it 2. These are not my favorite things to work on for extended periods of time. I am not great at wanting to spend a lot of time on these projects. And most of them are going to take 4, 5, 6 days. 4, 5, 6 good days to get done. So what I decided to do is I am working on these to small goals before rotating to the next one. And arbitrarily, I kind of set that at 1,000 stitches. So I am aiming for about 1,000 stitches. We'll talk about the exceptions to that. Okay, so I have worked on 2 of them so far, and I have reached my first goals. And so let's talk about those. So the first one lives in this project bag. This is a stitch and button bag, and it's super pretty and super adorable. I love it. And this one is very summery to me. So in here lives my August. August is by the Cricut Collection. You will have seen this on Instagram if you follow me there. But this is August by the Cricut Collection. And this I started in 2016. I would really like to finish this before the end of the year if I can. I think that this one is honestly like maybe my highest potential to actually get finished. Some of these are question marks, but anyway, so I pulled this out, and this one I didn't set the goal at 1,000 stitches. I set the goal at 2 letters before switching. 2 letters or 1,000 stitches, whichever comes first. And so I have none of these letters totally completed. All of them need at least a little bit of something. And that was no more true than for these first 2 letters. The A and the first U. So this is on a 32 count Belfast linen in pearl gray from Zweigart. I'm stitching this using all of the called for threads. The letters are done in a thread gatherer of silken colors. And here is my progress so far. Super fun. So for the A and U that I worked on this time, I had like little things to do. The flag here needed fill in with the dark blue and some backstitch to finish out the anchor, and then also the string to hold the flag down. So that was super quick. Then I needed to finish the hermit crab. And I had started on the hermit crab shell, but I had a good majority of this shell to do. I had his eyes to do, and the one leg I needed to finish up. For the seahorse needed an eye, the spines along his back, and his fin. And so I did that and then backstitched it. And then I needed to stitch the seagull. And the seagull is super adorable. I really love the way that turned out. He's pretty cute. He does not have his French knot eyes because I have yet to decide if I'm going to do them. I don't love French knots, and I think he looks pretty good without it. So I may just leave him without eyes, because I think he looks pretty good. He's got the sun in his face, and so he has his eyes closed. Go with that. So yeah, so that's where I got to. It wasn't even 400 stitches, but I got the first 2 letters done, and I was able to rotate to the next one. Now, obviously, when I get to the S and the T, that's going to be certainly more than 1,000 stitches to get those 2 letters done. However, by the time I get to that point, I'm going to be close enough to the finish that I'm going to be jazzed about it and really excited to work on this to the finish. So I think that's going to time out well. My second rotation on this, whenever it happens, because I am letting the wheel decide, is going to be very quick. The lobster needs very little to finish out the U. I need to do the shovel, another seagull, and I think the flag on the castle, and that's it. Should be real quick and easy to get the G and the U done. So, I'm going to get this one finished. I think this one has the highest potential. So I finished that up on Sunday the 1st, spun my wheel, and my next project come up, I didn't think I was going to be able to get the 1,000 stitches done yesterday. And I didn't get 1,000 stitches in yesterday. I finished up the 1,000 this morning. Because it's Tuesday, I'm supposed to be doing temperature stitching today. However, I knew I was going to be filming today, and so I knew that temperature stitching is likely going to bleed over in tomorrow. That's okay. So, my next piece lives in this stitch and button bag with all of the books on it. And this is my Stark House banner. Stark House banner is by Lolita Made. They are, I believe, a Russian designer, and so they are not on Etsy. Although I'm second guessing that now. So I'll put down here if they have an Etsy or if they don't. But anyway, I started this in 2017, I think, for the last season of Game of Thrones on HBO. Yeah, started this a long time ago. preview here of what it will look like finished. I am stitching this on 32 count Belfast linen in Valyrian Steel by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. And it's, once again, like a pretty gray, purpley kind of color. Purpley gray. It's mostly gray, but with like some undertones of purples in there. And so here is where I am now. I still have about 3,000 stitches left to do. A little over 3,000 stitches left to do. The one thing that we need to discuss, this lettering here is different from charted. I wanted something more obviously Game of Thrones like rather than the curly stuff that they had originally charted. Before I actually finish this, I need to go through and rip out the long back stitch that I did. I do not like the way that looks, so I will have to redo that before this is officially finished. But that is a case for another day. For this rotation, I was working down here. And let me move my parked thread. I am stitching this using 2 strands of DMC 762. It's that cold, icy blue color, very pale, which just looks white. Yeah, if I had known that it was going to look just white on this fabric, then I might have continued as I was, because stitching with DMC Blanc, my stitches never look so nice, and these stitches look good. Anyway, neither here nor there. So I was at about this line. I had just the tiniest little bit that the last time I worked on this bottom bit was tucked into the bottom of my frame. So I was able to finish out the Dire Head Wolf head there. And I've just kind of been working in a 10 by 10 row across, and then just letting the thread go as far as it can. So a section of about like that is what I did for this first 1,000 stitches. I'm really excited to finally close the circle. That will be a great relief. So that's where I am so far with Stark House Banner. After 1,000 stitches, it took me about a day and a half to do. You know, one color DMC stitching, it can go pretty quick. So there is that. And that is all that I have currently worked on. So we're going to dive further into plans here, and I'm going to show you the other pieces that I am going to try to finish here in December. This is why my small monthly goals and my sweater weather goals are kind of on hold, because the focus is finish that Stitch December for at least a little while. So also in the list of things to potentially finish, October Quaker by From the Heart Needleart by Wendy that I showed you a long time ago. It's buried in the pile, but you all saw that a little while ago. So that's one that is like 2,700 stitches total, so a couple of rotations of 1,000 stitches and I could get that done. One strand of thread on that goes for about 100 stitches, so yeah, that's pretty doable. I think that one has got high potential. These last two are my big question marks, so we'll work on them and see what we can get done. So up next lives in this project bag by Stitch and Button, and I love this bag and I love this project. This project is My Day Complete by Kathy Barrick. Let's see, do I have my cover? I do. So there is My Day Complete by Kathy Barrick. I started this along with Colette the Highway Stitcher and Krista for their birthday sale. They share a birthday, October 29th. And so a couple of years ago, this was their piece that they did, and then they invited us all to play along if we wanted to. And I love this piece, and so I started it alongside them. And they have both finished theirs a while ago, and mine's still ongoing. So this one, I think I'm at 3,500 stitches left, according to Pattern Keeper. I have made the decision I'm going to take out all of the initials. So I'm not going to stitch the initials. I'm also not going to stitch this star. I'm just going to leave it at the tree And the bird, I will put a date in here. I have yet to pick what year goes in there. Maybe 2013, because that's when I started stitching and that's when I started being unable to count my day complete without needle and thread. Maybe that's the way to go. So yeah, so that's my plan. I think like 3,500 stitches according to Pattern Keeper. This I did get from Kathy's Etsy page, and so it is PK compatible, just so you know. So here's where I'm starting from. The bird is done. I have a bunch of tree and a bunch of leaves left, and that big date plate. So there's still work to be done here, but it's not huge. It's a lot. That tree is a lot. The tree is a lot. Yeah, I'm what, here? So yeah, there's a lot of tree left. And the words. The fabric I'm using is 40 count Newcastle linen in eggnog by Color and Cotton, and I'm using DMC. Kathy also charted it in NPIs, and I made the switch to DMCs. So yeah, this I could get done. If I put my first couple thousand stitches into that tree, then that will make it super within the realm of possibility. Because you know the tree is just back and forth. It's just all one color, so that could be pretty easy to knock out a rotation on. Okay, this one is another one that I think I'm gonna set a goal differently than 1,000 stitches, because this one is difficult. It lives in this project bag, also a Mamali bag with the calaveras on it. And in here lives my, let's see if I can get the cover without the chart. There we go. Another Cottage Garden samplings, but one that I struggle with every time I try to work on it. This is Halloween Sampler. Isn't that ironic? I took out the Halloween piece out of temperature stitching and added in Halloween Sampler. So this is my Halloween Sampler. Like I said, I struggle with it. I may set the goal on this one at like two words. Let's do that. Let's call this one 2 words and a motif. That's nearby. I started this piece a few years ago, I think 2020. And at the time, the goal was to stitch 1 word every 2 weeks to see the finish within the calendar year. And obviously, almost 5 years have passed. Wow, that's a lot to process. Almost 5 years have passed, and it's not done yet. So I'm gonna set the small goal before rotating at 2 words. And so yeah, the fabric I'm using is 32 count Belfast linen in Tombstone by Color and Cotton. It was in a Halloween mystery box. Another thing that bothers me is that I'm stitching this using the called for Needleart sampler threads, and the capital letter is Needleart's blackboard, and the rest of the letters in each of the words is Needleart's raven. But can you tell? I mean, really, can you tell? I can't looking at it head on, and I know what I've done. So anyway, that is where I'm starting from with Halloween Sampler. I have not spun the wheel to find out what's next yet, because as I said, temperature stitching. So yesterday I sat down and I pulled up my area's weather for the past week and pulled the temperatures for Monday the 25th through Sunday the 1st. Monday the 25th? Yes. Monday the 25th through Sunday the 1st of December. And so I wrote down the temperatures and also the associated projects. So I have to show this to you. This is funny. Okay. I made the determination that I'm going to go for 2,000 stitches before I switch out the project. Because I started this late, I'm not likely to hit 2,000 stitches on any of these pieces. So these will just be my pieces through winter solstice. And then I'll switch to my winter solstice pieces. But, so here's what this looks like And that is my first week. I didn't box this next week yet, so I'm going to do that so that you can see that. But you can see Autumn Cloche got five of those. So a quarter of that in the first week. Okay, now I'm going to box up for week 2 so that y'all can see just how different this is. Okay, so keep in mind, the ones that are filled in are done, and the ones that are not filled in are for this week. Look at how different. I got 4 different projects, and none of them are the one that I got 5 times in the first week. That's just so fun. It's so fun to see how that is coming together. So our temperature ranges, just a real quick run through. Keep in mind these are in Fahrenheit. So 62, 69, 56, 58, 51, 42, and 46. So yeah, a lot of a range there. If I was doing a different project for each digit 0 through 9, I would be working on 5 unique projects, but only 4 because of the way that I change things. So let's get into, I'm going to show you my starting points for Fall Owl 5 and Autumn Fairy because we haven't seen those. But I showed you Merry and Bright, and it's listed there as New Start, but it is Autumn Town. I won't have a New Start every time 8 and 9 comes up. And not working on Autumn Cloche this week. So Fall Owl 5 lives in this project bag. This is a bag by Black Cat X Stitchery. And in here lives the project that I started last Christmas for some grief stitching. My Aunt Colleen passed, and so I started this in sort of memory of her as I was navigating the grief after she passed away. So this is Fall Owl 5. I think I've said that a few times. It is by Cross Stitch Pictorial on Etsy. I am stitching this on 32 count Belfast linen. In the label says cottage cream, but it's like a vintage cream in that it looks the same as like vintage country mocha or the vintage blue whisper I showed you earlier. It's printed to look modeled on one side and it's plain on the back. So it's called cottage cream, but it's the vintage printed Zweigart fabrics. Using all of the pretty called for threads, all of the pretty called for DMCs. Super cool. So this one will get 200 stitches this week, today, tomorrow, something like that. So I will work on Fall Owl 5. And then last but not least, we have Autumn Fairy. So that lives in this project bag. We have seen this one pretty recently because I've worked on it pretty recently. And this is on 32 count Belfast linen in Mellow from Picture This Plus. This is a design by Chatelaine. And so my 100 stitches will go into that mandala. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to getting some more progress on the mandala. That will be very cool. So yeah, so that's where I'm up to with Autumn Fairy. Oh, so pretty. All right, so I think that covers all of the plans. So really quickly here, we're gonna dive into some Stitchy Kindness and some haul kind of things. So first up, let's do the Stitchy Kindness. When I was at the Stitchy meetup in November, Erin gave me this book. This is Mementos of the Heart by Heart and Hand. This has quite a few of the past Collector's Heart by Heart and Hand. As you know, I finished the 2023 Collector's Heart earlier this year, and there are several in here that I want to stitch. But first and foremost, I gotta stitch this box top Kindness. That is so cute and so pretty. I have to stitch that. So that could get started before the end of the month. So this Finish That Stitch December is the plan, but fully realizing that it may go off the rails. We'll kind of wait and see. But anyway, love that. And so yeah, there's lots of really cool things in here. I would love to flip through and show you them all, but the charts are kind of sprinkled all over the place. But so that's very cool. Thank you so much, Erin. Some other Stitchy Kindness I got. This is Stitchy Kindness from my brother. So my brother went to Paris in October. He went to visit Paris. He tried to do this trip, I want to say last year or the year before, and then plans fell through, and so he was finally able to take the trip and just go see Paris for himself. And while he was there, he stopped in and found this stitchy shop, embroidery shop, stitchy shop. And I am not going to attempt to pronounce the name. I will just show it to you here. So that's the name of the shop there. This is their catalog, and they have tons of things in here, things that you can purchase from them. Just a ton of different things. And so he picked up for me two things. First of which, my scissors are on their last leg. I have some more cheapy scissors, but my current storks, that I've dropped them a couple of times, and so the end on one of them is kind of bent a little bit. Anyway, I'm not doing any fine cut work. I'm not doing any harding or anything with them. But he did pick me up a pair of scissors. Let me take them out of the package so we don't have the plastic. And they are shaped like the Eiffel Tower. So, very cool. Nice long blade on those. Those are beautiful. I may put those to work today. And then he also picked me up a kit. Just like a really cool kind of sampler kit of Parisian things and French things. And I think that is just adorable. The croissant is a button. It's a button that goes on there. That is just so cute. So this comes with the Ada and the threads on a sorter. Super cool. This is really adorable. This is also something that I might be in the mood to start. I'm not so sure about the Ada. It feels a little crunchy. It's an 18 count. So I'm going to have a look and see if there are blends. And if there aren't any blends, then I'm going to do this on probably a 40 count since I have so much of it. But this is really, really cool. Thank you, Matt. Thank you for thinking of me and for picking this up. This is so cool. I meant to show this to y'all in my last video, and it was in a weird place on my desk here, and so I missed it. But anyway, super, super cool. Hey everybody, Jessie in editing, and from behind the screen this time. As you may have noticed, the video ended kind of abruptly. It's about 18 hours later, and I am just now discovering that apparently my disk was full and it stopped recording without telling me that it had stopped recording. So I'm going to end this here. I think that my plan is to be back on Monday, which is just a few days away. So whatever I missed telling you in this video, I'll just tack on to that one, and we'll go from there. So yeah, so I hope everybody's doing okay. I hope you're doing well. I hope that you're stitching. I hope that the holiday season treats you kindly, and I hope that you treat you kindly. Take care of yourselves, everybody. As always, be kind, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, y'all. Take care.